welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Prashant Pitti, co-founder at easemytrip.com, joining in. Welcome to the show, Prashant, and always a pleasure to speak to you as well. Prashant, overall, if you go to see in terms of where business goes, earlier when we spoke, we did speak about how COVID had impacted, how business has been going. And in the month of September itself, we have Ease My Trip, which became a $1 billion company, a unicorn, I would say. How would you describe the journey?
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Viral. The journey has been pretty fruitful so far. We have been at it for the last 13 years. You could say that we are one of the unicorns which took really long time to get here. In these days and times when unicorns are being formed in 3 years, 4 years, for us it took 13 years, but it was very worthwhile. This we have done without raising any money, without burning any cash, while being profitable all throughout. So of course, we chose a different path, but the outcome has been pretty gratifying, to say the least. Talking about the travel industry, of course, as this pandemic, happened about a year and a half ago, our industry was the most severely hit industry of all the industries out there. But of course, we also anticipate that the bounce back or the V shape will also be in similar curve, and which we already are seeing. Go to any airport these days, you will find it chock-a-block right now. Most flights are, fully packed. Just people are just sick and tired of being at home for a year and a half now, and they need some escapism to go out. So whatever we talked about as a revenge travel, revenge tourism, it's actually kicking in. It's something which we are witnessing right now.
Right. Prashant, as you mentioned that you've taken really long versus the other unicorns, but I think it's always that slow and steady wins the race. And I think that's the mark and the route that you would be following as well. And with this, Prashant, overall, now, if you see in terms of the number of COVID cases, etc., that started to decline across. Things have started to open up as well. So how has the industry changed? How has the demand scenario changed? Is it, because a lot of sectors, when things started to open up, even after the first wave and the second wave, a lot of pent-up demand that started coming in as well. So for the travel industry right now, are you seeing a major surge due to the pent-up demand?
Yes, for both the reasons. Of course, India is doing great in vaccination policy. We are vaccinating, so many amount of people that, there are many countries who have that much amount of population put together. So vaccination drive is going very well. And then this season is the travel season, Q3 in general has been very high on travel. So I think that is also adding to the fuel. Countries are opening up. There are many countries which are allowing people who are fully vaccinated to come without any quarantine or without even any RT-PCR test. So that's a great news for people. Overall, I think this pandemic is turning towards endemic now. I think it's only a matter of few more quarters, that this, God willing, and we would not want to see a devastating third wave. But I think because of the vaccination policy, I think we could say that there is some level of safety net which is getting around us already. So I think the demand is picking up for the right reasons. We would still want people to follow all the safety precautions while traveling. That is still our advice to people. However, what's seen on the ground is for everybody to see. Everything is chock-a-block right now. 4-star, 5-star hotels are doing very well. Flights are booked.
Right. So Prashant, overall, with all of this, are you expecting this kind of demand to continue? And if not, at what levels do you see it normalizing?
So very recently, DGCA has allowed 100% flights to take off, to basically, get back to the mundane work which it was before. I believe that was the right thing to do because flights were extremely crammed up. Airlines needed that support to allow go 100% or even beyond, I think now. So the time has come where we stop referencing pre-pandemic, I think. The time has come where we start the new era, start the new chapter altogether. And, start from here onwards. As I think our industry is somewhere around 75% of pre-pandemic numbers already. EaseMyTrip, being a growing company, we are above pre-pandemic numbers already. But the industry is at 70-75%. And I think for the industry, I could say that either third quarter or fourth quarter, by the end of third quarter or by the beginning of fourth quarter, we could see 100% pre-pandemic numbers and then grow from there beyond.
Right. So Prashant, overall right now, what's the outlook that you have for this second half of FY22, taking into consideration things have started opening up. DGCA has gone ahead and allowed 100% capacity in terms of flights. So overall, does your growth outlook change for the second half of the year?
Definitely. To be honest, we did not anticipate recovery to come so fast, so quick. It is a bit surprising to us as well, pleasantly surprising. But I think if there is no big third wave, and it's the calmer version of what we saw in the first wave, or even subdued version of that, I think this industry is going to gain a lot of momentum, for multiple reasons. Yeah, and I think the numbers could change dramatically and the outlook of hotel industries, travel, tourism industries could also change, for the positive.
And overall, right now, in terms of where business goes, what's the growth initiative? What's the strategy going to be for a Ease My Trip?
So at Ease My Trip, there are multiple things which we are doing. We are always ahead of the curve. We are innovating all the time. One of the things which we have recently introduced to give comfort to people is basically allowing them to cancel their domestic air tickets and get full refund if they had to cancel it because of any medical emergency.
Okay.
This service is started by Ease My Trip about a month ago. And the idea of the service is to allow people to make their travel plans and be okay with it, that if there is any medical issue, they would be able to get the entire full money back. And mind you, Ease My Trip is providing this service free of cost. Our competitors are charging bomb, allowing them to, our competitors provide free full refund services as well, but you have to pay up to 1,000 rupees per passenger at the time of booking to avail that insurance. But at Ease My Trip, this service is free, absolutely free.
So Prashant, I'll interrupt over here. How does this service work? Who bears the cost of the cancellation? Is it the middleman or is it the aviation company?
So basically, first let me explain a little bit more in detail how the service works. You book any domestic air tickets on Ease My Trip. If you have to cancel it for any medical purposes, you just come and upload doctor's prescription. We will verify that doctor's prescription, and then we will basically not only refund the money which Ease My Trip deducts as cancellation fees, but also we will pay the amount which is deducted by the airlines. So supposedly, if the ticket is of 5,000 rupees per passenger, around 3,000 to 3,500 rupees is deducted by the airlines. Around 300 to 500 rupees is deducted by the OTAs. You will get your entire 5,000 back by uploading a doctor's prescription. And we have an underwriter who's taking care of it. So It is not owned by Ease My Trip, it is not owned by passengers, it is not owned by the airline, but there's an underwriter who will be basically taking on all those expenses.
Right. So when you say it's underwritten means, is there an insurance which covers it or the cost is borne by the company?
Is an insurance company which is working along with us on this.
Right. So basically that means that there are no losses that account on the back of the refund policy for
so companies will not incur any losses on this. Ease My Trip will not incur any losses. Customer will get their money back, but there's an insurance and company who's underwriting it.
Right. And after this as well, what's the plan with regards to expansion? Because you've been entering a lot of global markets as well right now. You are micro-targeting global markets as well. UAE is one of the markets that you've looked at already. Which are the other markets that you will be expanding into in the next 18 to 24 months, if that's the kind of time horizon we would be looking at?
Sure. So there are 6 subsidiaries, wholly owned subsidiaries, which we have formed. UK, US, Dubai, Singapore, Thailand, and Philippines. These are the 6 countries where we have created fully owned subsidiaries. And the idea of creating fully owned subsidiaries at these places is to actually create website where people of those countries, those respective countries, can book air tickets for their domestic purposes or for their international purposes. So now we would want to serve people abroad as well for their travel needs. And the reasoning is very simple from EaseMyTrip. It's almost like no-brainer to us. We have created a great cutting-edge technology, and we have by far the best efficient, operational structure, in India. Now imagine if we have highest operational efficiency among the Indian companies. Imagine what kind of operational efficiencies we will have for to serve people in US, to serve people in UK, right? Now, this is precisely why we have created these 6 subsidiaries. And very soon we will be starting our operations by allowing people in these countries to make their, flight bookings using EaseMyTrip.
Right. And overall, if you have to look at expansion as well, which geographies would you target categorically?
These are the 6 locations which I mentioned. These are the 6 locations which we have chosen.
Any specific in terms of chronology?
Oh, well, chronology, we are beginning with Dubai, to be honest. Today I'm leaving for Dubai. So we are beginning with Dubai, and then probably the US and the UK, which will come afterwards.
Right. And what percentage of revenues do you target in the next 24 months to come from the international markets?
That would be extremely hard for me to predict right now. It's only the beginning right now. We are sowing the seeds in the right place. Results is something which we will see in the future. I will not be able to predict any of those numbers right now. But the good part is that the company is taking right direction, moving in the right direction, and sowing the right seeds.
Right. And how will the strategy be different between the domestic market versus the international market?
To be honest, anyways, EaseMyTrip has grown on one single feature, one primary feature, which is not charging convenience fees. Now, in all of these geographies, the one which are big players, the incumbent players, they all are charging, you can call them service fees, you can call them convenience fees, you can call them, they're various names, but they all mean the same thing. So we would also target those countries, those geographies by either not charging service fees or convenience fees, or by charging considerably lower amount of convenience fees and service fees, because we can. With our operational efficiencies, we can do it. I think there's only one company, at least from India, who could do that, and that's EaseMyTrip, by having such amazing low-cost operational structures as what we have built. So the overall perspective will remain the same. To grow by providing customers a value, and the value is to give them tickets at a cheaper price by either not charging them service fees or charging them lesser. And the marketing will happen primarily digitally, either via Google or Facebook. But we will play a patient game. We are not in hurry to grab and to spray and capture the market. We want to grow as what we have grown in India. To grow, as you said, the slow and steady wins the pace. At EaseMyTrip in the last 13 years, we have surpassed and outgrown 5 deeply funded travel companies in the last 13 years. The ones who are doing something similar to EaseMyTrip but have raised tons of money, and they are they're burning monies and giving discounts and giving coupons in marketing and various whatnots, right? We have outgrown them while making money, while growing profitably. So that is the outlook which probably we will continue with in the other geographies as well.
Right. And, as you mentioned, it'll be mainly digital marketing that you will be looking at. So will the marketing spends remain the same, or by how much can we expect marketing spends to increase?
Well, to be honest, it depends on how the reception is going to be at all at each of these places. We are a company which is very bottom line focused. In the last 13 years, we have not seen even one single quarter of loss. So we are an extremely bottom line focused company, and whatever transactions we will do, either we will do it at break even or we will make money. So even in the newer geographies, we do not intend to burn money.
Right. And when you say, when you are entering newer geographies as well, how does that change your operating costs? Because initially, obviously, your costs are going to be higher versus the revenues that you receive in the newer geographies. So is that something which will change overall?
As I said, that each geography will maintain its own P&L as a subsidiary. And the idea is to grow the subsidiaries the way we have grown EaseMyTrip, which is profitably. So we would want to continue with the same tenet. as what we have done for eSmartRep in the last 13 years.
Right. And very lastly, Prashant, overall, in terms of where business goes, if you have to look at the next 3 years, what are those key milestones that you are looking to cross in terms of growth?
Well, of course, we want to be the number one player in air industry. We are the second largest right now. We want to be the number one player in the next 3 years. We are aiming for that. We are preparing ourselves accordingly. Number two, we would want to grow our non-air segment, both organically and inorganically. There are multiple things which we are doing to grow our hotel, bus, train, holidays department, both organically and inorganically, and we would want to achieve a very good share in the other parts as well. But again, the same caveat would apply to do it profitably or at break even. We do not intend to burn money on that segment as well. And third is, of course, to grow internationally. There are so many KPOs, BPOs which exist, right, which are serving the world. Why can't we have a TPO, travel, company, which is basically kind of doing the entire job in India, but people are using that particular website, that particular app across the world to make their holiday bookings. I think I lost you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Prashant, my last question that would come to you is, if you have to consider, international markets, again, you're going to take the same growth path that you saw in terms of the domestic market as well, right? So overall, if you have to consider the next 5 years in terms of business, will the domestic markets still be a dominant position in terms of your revenue streams?
I would not be able to comment and predict on this. My job is to do what the results are. That's for the future today. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to comment on it.
No issues. Thank you, Prashant, so much for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure to speak to you, and congratulations once again for becoming a unicorn, and good luck for the coming years and quarters as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita, for having me. Appreciate it.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.